Brian, anything to say about what happened today?
Accused squatter Brian Rodriguez walked out of the courtroom with his head and eyes covered. But he wasn't camera shy last month when our cameras were rolling during a standoff he had with the homeowner. Adele Andaloro says Rodriguez moved into the Queens house she inherited in the middle of the night and refused to leave.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
Police arrested her for changing the locks on her own home, something you can't do if someone claims to live there for 30 days. They later dropped the charges, and the Queens DA started investigating after seeing for herself what happened.
We have the benefit of time, right? We're lawyers, we're not police officers.
In the courtroom, prosecutors charged Rodriguez with burglary, grand larceny, and possession of stolen property. His attorney told the judge he's the victim, claiming he signed a bogus lease with an unnamed real estate broker. When we asked him for a copy of that lease last month, he wouldn't show it.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show it? Show it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He pulled up a document. It wasn't a lease.
This is a bill.
And after court, we asked again.
Where's the lease? Do you have the lease or the paperwork that he claims he had?
A disgrace.
That was his attorney's response. His client faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted.
You can't walk into a house that's not yours.
I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of the state of Tennessee. Now, Tennessee is joining a lot of states lately that have really looked into landlords' rights, property owners' rights to have squatters immediately arrested, okay? So in a lot of states right now, landlords have to go through the civil eviction process if they want to handle squatters. And that's just not right, okay? It's just, in my opinion, it is completely wrong. And what a lot of states are doing, especially since there have been a lot of recent high-profile stories, they're saying, hey, we got to look at our laws in our state, and we have to allow landlords and property owners to be able to handle squatters immediately. Okay, so that way the police, they can come in there, they can arrest those people, charge them with trespassing, charge them with breaking and entering, charge them with property damage, and remove them so that there's not this big issue of, oh, is this person a tenant? Do we have to go through the civil eviction process? Is there anything the police can actually do? No. Okay, so the landlords, the property owners are finally, at least in a few places, going to be able to handle this situation. So, you know, I'm glad to see this sort of thing happening, but you know what's happening in some places? Tenant rights groups are stepping up and saying, no, the landlords, they're all evil. They're going to abuse this. They're going to, take legitimate tenants and then make them homeless, and then there'll be this huge homelessness issue. No, this isn't about homelessness. This isn't about legitimate tenants. This is about people who are abusing the system and need to be removed, okay? People who are taking advantage, knowing that the laws are, they're very, very anti-landlord in some places, and then being able to stay for free in a place that they don't own, have zero right to be in. And you know what? I'm glad that they're changing these laws. So I'm waiting for something like this to pass here in Nebraska, where I own real estate, where I am a landlord. And hopefully something passes soon, because you know what? These high profile cases, I feel bad for the landlord up in New York in particular, right? There was that landlord in New York, and she got arrested trying to remove squatters from her own property, okay? She got arrested, not them. They came in and arrested her for trying to remove squatters. And that was the catalyst that got all these different laws throughout the entire country changed, okay? That is the catalyst that pushed all of these different, politicians, that pushed, property owners to say, hey, we need to change our laws, and sometimes it takes a negative event like that in order to see change, okay? Unfortunately for her, the change wasn't in New York, but it was in other states, like Florida, in like Georgia, in Tennessee. And I've even heard about proposals in places like Ohio and all throughout the entire country now. So, you know what? She actually helped so many people with what she went through, and I'm glad that it happened, because it opened up people's eyes. It opened up their eyes a lot more than you can imagine. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. below and let me know what you think. So do you think it was a good thing that the landlord up in New York got arrested for trying to remove squatters from her own home? Okay, I do. Okay, not good for her in particular. Maybe it was good for her. Maybe because now there's even politicians in New York who are trying to get the law changed up there. Okay, but it definitely had an effect throughout the entire country. Like I said, you know, people, they ask me, why are you covering stuff in New York? You don't live there. You don't live in New York. It has nothing to do with you. You should just mind your own business. Focus on the places you invest. And I said, what happens in New York, it matters. It matters to all of us throughout the entire country. You know, it might even matter to people in other countries because we see what happens up there and we feel it, okay? We feel it, and people, they want to make sure that same stuff doesn't happen here in Nebraska or in Missouri or in Arizona. They want to make sure that they don't end up in this with the same issues. So they want to pass laws. They want to, you know, pass legislation that says, hey, make sure that that doesn't happen here, okay? So yes, it is important. Yes, I am going to keep covering these stories because, you know, this is, like I said, this is the end result of the types of laws and rules and regulations that they want to see passed everywhere. So anyway, let's get into this article and see what it says. This article is coming from KATV.com, and it says, Tennessee law to further protect property owners from squatters takes effect this July. Let's see what Tennessee is doing about this whole problem. Legislation passed Monday will further protect Tennessee property owners from squatters. Squatters do not have rights in Tennessee, but this new law establishes and expedites the removal process. Currently, property owners must begin a judicial eviction when they encounter squatters in their home. So yeah, squatters don't have rights to your property, but you still had to go through the judicial eviction process to get rid of them. Now, how does that make any sense? Idiotic. So yeah, they're correcting that problem right now, and fortunately they will be able to arrest and remove these people going forward. House Bill 1259 removes much burden from Tennessee property owners by clarifying a process for law enforcement to restore possession. The law can expedite the removal of illegal occupants in just a matter of 72 hours. Currently, it can take up to 2 years to remove an illegal squatter and can cost a property owner thousands in legal fees, lost revenue, and property repair, State Representative Tim Rudd's office says. So yeah, and that's what I'm talking about right there, okay? Saying, oh, well, this squatter thing, it's not really a problem. You know, like they're trying to gaslight us, tell us, oh, this is a conspiracy theory, you know? It's such a minuscule. You don't have a clue of how many times this actually happens because a lot of landlords, they just deal with it on their own. They don't go through the judicial process. They end up paying the tenants to leave, right? Which there's no court record of that at all, okay? Or the squatters leave on their own. There's no court record of that. You know, all you have is a property that was trashed, taken over by drug addicts, and you're just left cleaning up the mess. There's no court record of that. Okay, so yeah, there's not a lot of record keeping that, you know, there's not a lot of records that show exactly how many cases there are of squatters doing this. But believe me, it does happen. It happens in every single city throughout the entire country. Now, you know what? It is necessary that they put these sort of laws on the books so that we don't have to go through this eviction process because, like it said in the article, there's a lot of legal fees, you know, that are required to remove somebody through the civil eviction process. And the person up in there will do untold thousands of dollars worth of damage. That is, you know, just putting that burden upon the property owner is just dead wrong. And we all know this. We all know this deep down, yet they let these laws and they let these rules stay on the books. The legislation also says the sheriff may arrest trespassers. Sponsor of the bill, Representative Rudd, Republican from Murfreesboro, said this further protects Tennessee homeowners and deters squatters. Homeownership is the American dream for many, the foundation for building wealth and raising a family, Rudd says. This is a proactive legislation that protects property owners but also deters bad actors who have learned to exploit the law and terrorize homeowners. This creates a streamlined process for Tennesseans to quickly take back control over what is rightfully theirs. Yep, and he's absolutely correct, okay? And keep in mind, right, the reason I bring these sort of issues up, is because they don't just affect landlords. They affect just regular homeowners as well. If you leave your property vacant while maybe you're on vacation, or maybe you're out of town, maybe you're in the hospital, who knows, right? Maybe you're the son of a person who is elderly, and that person had to be admitted into long-term care, but the house sat empty for a period of time, right? And you come back and there is somebody living up in there who decided that they wanted to take possession of something that did not belong to them. You should have an easy method to have that person removed for trespassing, okay? For breaking and entering, for theft, for property damage. There should not be, you have to go hire a lawyer and then have that person removed. Give me a break, okay? So yeah, this is a big issue. This is something that can happen to people in any locality throughout the entire country, and it does happen in almost every locality throughout the entire country. That's why we need laws that reflect the reality of the situation. Okay, so in places like New York, where people can establish squatters' rights, they need to get rid of that. They need to eliminate squatters' rights immediately, and they need to bring back the rule of law, period. Okay? They need the rule of law because, you know what? Property owners, landlords, and people who have respect for the law do not deserve to be, just used and abused by these con artists.